Yo, what's good, my people? It's your boy, Big Chris, aka the Compton Animator, and I'm here to bring you another WWE NXT main event and Smackdown review. But instead of NXT tonight, we're reviewing NXT Takeover. So let's get things started. So we start off with the NXT review for NXT with the main event review for main event the 27th, 2014 of May. And the show kicks off with Cody Rhodes versus Curtis Axel. This all streams from a little bit of beef that both teams had in the backstage area when after Cody Rhodes and Goldust lost the match to Evolution, so Ryback started talking shit to them. They got into a little conflict there, and you got the match set up for tonight. So the match goes down where you get Cody Rhodes, who is being distracted a little bit by Ryback. Goldust tries to stop Ryback. Ryback defends it off, tries to go and distract him a little bit more. Cody Rhodes hits him with a disaster kick, and Curtis Axel goes up for the roll up and picks up a win there. And not Ryback's, but the Brotherhood is all pissed off in the middle of the ring and just mad as fuck that this had to happen. So it was a pretty okay opening, an okay match between both guys, and I still like the little interaction that they gave both teams here. So it was pretty okay here. Next, more pictures. Next, you get Damien Sandow, who comes out as a hip hop dressed character, or whatever you want to call it. He calls himself D Shizzle. Yeah, I know. Gets into a match with R-Truth. Loses the match. It was stupid. Next, you get a match with Brie Bella and Natalya. Okay, Divas match here. The crowd wasn't into it at all, but the girls did an okay match here. They basically played up on the fact that Nikki may end up getting fired this weekend or tonight, which is Sunday, if if Daniel Bryan doesn't give up his titles, Brie is going to get fired. So they playing off of that in this whole match and playing up the fact that Brie may be, feeling some insecurities about that. And you get Natalya, who ends up hitting a sharpshooter and picking up the win over on Brie Bella. And they play up more on the whole thing of both of the girls being sad about this. So, and you even get Natalya, who kind of nudges Brie Bella a little bit, saying, "I feel your pain," or some shit like that. So it was an okay match here. Next, you get the Usos versus the Wyatt family. And they had a backstage segment before the match with the Usos talking to Renee Young. And it was basically the Usos going in there and saying again, how they don't understand how the Wyatt family are a family and that blood is thicker than water and that they're going to beat the Wyatt family tonight. And then you got another backstage segment with the Wyatt family, who basically says that we're all here for a cause and our cause is better than you guys' family. So put more up on that. The match itself was actually pretty good. I like the way both the Usos and these two members of the Wyatt family really wrestled here. The crowd was totally into it and actually totally behind the Usos here. The chant for them goes over really well, so it gets people to get behind them. Even though you still have people that were firmly behind the Wyatt family here, I really liked how this match went down. So the match goes full down when the Wyatt family starts to take more control in the match, and you end up getting Luke Harper, who does the spinning clothesline onto one of the Usos, gets the pin, and then gets him onto the outside, one of the other Usos onto the outside, and Bray Wyatt hits the Sister Abigail onto him, and you get Luke Harper, who counts to a count of 10 for him, and they just stand tall at the end of the show. As far as this main event goes, it was an okay main event, nothing too special to it. I liked the end match. Everything else was just very mediocre here. So I would give it like a C- here at best. This end match really saved the show from being kind of sucky. And I watched it after I watched NXT Takeover. So after I watched NXT Takeover, I really didn't want to see any other wrestling matches. But the end match really was pretty chill, and I liked the way they played it. Next, you get to your NXT Takeover, which happened on the 29th of May 2014, and the show kicked off with your pre-show, which had Renee Young, Christian, Paul Heyman on there as your main host, and they basically talked about all the matches throughout the night and talked about everything that that's going to go down for the night. They showed video packages for all the matches. The best one had to be the Hearts versus the Flairs video package, where they talked about how the Flairs and the Hearts have been going, in these back and forth matches, especially with Ric Flair getting beat by Bret Hart for Bret Hart's first World Championship. And they went on more about, how Natalya and Charlotte is having this beef, and this can be Charlotte's first time actually for a Hart to beat a Flair. So I really did like the way they played that promo. You got a good one from, what's the boy's name? A good one from Sami Zayn, I thought, which just played up on more of the whole thing of, he's been trying to get these wins, especially on these little pay-per-view shows, and, he's been unsuccessful at it. And he's also just been trying to get better, at the idea of winning and trying to win, and realizing that, he has to lose before he can win. You also had the Adrian Neville video package, which was really good and played up more up on the whole thing with, him having to beat these guys to, get further ahead. And now his next challenge is Tyson Kidd. And then another video package was with, who else had? They showed what's the boy's name? Tyler Breeze. They showed a good Tyler Breeze video package for the Sami Zayn match, and his just was straight comedy. Like the way he plays his character in these packages, it's very well done, and I really liked it here. The pre-show ended with Adam Rose coming out and basically coming out and dancing with the pre-show people, and that leads into the actual NXT Takeover show. So you get NXT Takeover, and the first match is Adam Rose versus Camacho. Adam Rose comes out into the ring, and he comes through the back way, like throughout through the entrance and everything, like through the main building entrance, and comes all the way down into the ring with this whole Rosebuds group. And he gets in there, he has a microphone, and they do all the dancing and stuff. And you get Camacho, who comes down, and they have a match. A match that I thought was pretty okay here, and I thought it was a nice way to kick off the show. Adam Rose's character was more the thing that he was trying to put over here. You know how goofy and silly his character is. He was doing things like rubbing his crotch into Camacho and rubbing his butt into Camacho's crotch, jumping on Camacho and having Camacho have to throw him down and stuff. Camacho did take most of the leadway in this match here. I like that, the moveset of Camacho is still kind of iffy on Adam Rose's whole character here, but I think it did a lot better here, especially with the crowd interaction, which this crowd in NXT was good all the way through the night. I think they did a really good job here of playing up to this match and, doing exactly what they needed to do to get an okay kickoff for the show. It wasn't nothing too special. I wish Adam Rose would have had more offense here. He did the little hook up thing, and it really didn't work the first time, and he did it again and kind of started getting off more. He had a spine buster that was really good, and he did his party foul move, which is like a kind of on top of the shoulder versions of Dean Ambrose move, which was another pretty good move, and picks up the win here. And like I said, it was a pretty okay match here. Crowd was the thing that made it really good. Their chanting of Rosebud and stuff like that. So moving on to your next match was their tag team match with the Ascension versus what I like to call Lucha, which is LO Cal and Kalisto. The Ascension was very much over here. Even coming down to the ring, you had people chanting "Yah" and stuff like that. And Lucha was getting a few chants with the whole Lucha thing, but they was kind of trying to force it. This match was more of a kind of squash match where the faces got more time to kind of come back. It was an okay match here. The biggest problem with this match was once Raquel Rodriguez got into the ring, he kind of botched a few moves, and he wasn't really great at doing everything. I've seen him be better than this, but it wasn't fully fleshed out, and it kind of didn't make a great ending towards the match. But the way he took the fall of man was really good, so I did like that. And the match itself was okay here, and the Ascension went over. They were fully over with the crowd, so you get what you get. Next, and they pick up a win, and we have to see what they're going to do next. Next, you get a match with Sami Zayn versus Tyler Breeze, and this is your number one contendership for the NXT title match. And I have to say that this match was a pretty chill match. Both of these guys went out there and they really, tried their best. You got to see a lot out of Tyler Breeze here. His character was on full blast here, and you got to see what is his full set of moves set. You got a lot of crazy high flying moves from Sami Zayn, his hula kicks, and his little kind of power bomb type move or whatever. Not power bomb, but his slam type move that he does, and he just, what Sami Zayn does in the ring is way better than what his character is. He really doesn't have a full set character, but his in-ring work is really good. And I thought this was a really good match. Both of these guys worked very well, and just, how both of them interact as pushing their characters into this match was very well done. The match goes down as Sami Zayn tries to go for his haluva kick. Tyler Breeze puts his arms up and kind of jumps, bends down a little bit and ends up hitting Sami Zayn in the nuts. Sami Zayn is just drops down and my nuts. And then Tyler Breeze hits him with the beauty shot, picks up the win here. So Tyler Breeze is your number one contender. And I thought, like I said, it was a pretty good match. Not my match of the night, but it was a very good match here. Next, you get Alexander Rusev, who comes out with Lana. Lana speaks up on America again. Talks shit about America again and says how, Russia is better, and speaks up, hypes up Rusev more. And, basically just going out there and being Lana and Rusev. You get Mojo Rawley, who comes out there and he starts, talking about, how USA is better, and says that he go come down there and shove that flag up Rusev's Putin, I guess. I thought it was an okay line, but I really don't like this dude, Mojo Rawley. But what happened next made me really like this segment. Mojo Rawley runs into the ring and gets kicked the shit out. Rusev hits him with that super kick, then beats his ass, then puts him into the accolade and makes Mojo Rawley just look like a bitch. Lana comes in, telling him to let it go, and Rusev starts walking up the ramp, then puts Mojo Rawley into the acolyte again. So this right here was just like a smart wet dream, just seeing Mojo Rawley get his ass whooped, and it was really fun to see this, and I really did like this segment. I think the best Rusev segment. I liked it in a long time. So yeah. Next, you get your Divas match, which was Charlotte versus Natalya in the final match of the NXT Women's Championship matches and tournaments. And this match here, before we talk about that, you get Paige, who comes out in these tight ass white skinny jeans, ass looking really nice. But Paige comes out, she starts basically talking about how winning the NXT title led for her to win the Divas title, and that title is the future to whoever's going to be the next champion. And then she goes further on about just trying to put up the NXT women's title more. It wasn't a great promo, but I thought it was okay for what it was. She still it feels like whoever's telling her to speak now doesn't really know her character too much, and they're telling her that they're fucking up her character here. She doesn't feel like the anti-diva anymore. She just feels like a cookie cutter diva now, and I don't know, it's very weird. Very, very weird. So yeah. But after this, you start getting into the Divas match with Charlotte versus Natalya for the for the NXT Women's Championship. And this match right here, man, it was a very good women's match, probably the best women's match I've seen in a long time. It started off pretty slow, but with more along the lines of being technical, with these girls putting submissions on each other and putting each other in these holds and locks and stuff. They got more into the match, and just the way everything went down, the way Ric Flair acted, the things that they did to kind of piss both Ric Flair and Bret Hart out, who was out on ringside off. It was just very good. Just everything about this match was just top notch to me, and I really think that this goes to show that women, like on Arrival between Paige and Emma, this goes to show that women can be some of your top wrestlers in the company, especially with what they do and the story that they told in this match. It was damn near a main event match for me. It goes. You get one section in the match where Charlotte goes and looks at Bret Hart and puts on the sharpshooter onto Natalya and is just wooing at Bret Hart and stuff. You also get another segment to where both of the girls are into a figure, where Charlotte puts Natalya into a figure four leg lock, and they're just reversing the figure four back and forth and slapping the shit out of each other. And Charlotte is slapping the shit out of Natalya, but Natalya can't reach her, so she's wooing at her again. So, I mean, everything in this match that they did was very good, and had a lot of fun watching this match. The move sets that these girls put on was very good, and the end of the match goes down where Charlotte gets Natalya on the ground, hits her bow down to the queen move, and pins her 1, 2, 3. Charlotte is your new NXT Women's Champion, and cheers in the ring with Ric Flair and Natalya, and Bret Hart gets back in the ring and they cheer along with them. It kind of messed up her whole heel persona here, but just the excitement of these women putting on that type of match and the history that was in the ring all at once, just you could kind of let it go. So yeah, I thought it was a really good match and my match of the night. Next, you get your last NXT Takeover match, your main event, which is Adrian Neville versus Tyson Kidd. And another very good match here. These guys played well towards each other. They had a little kind of ROH type spots where they would how you say it, they would go down and try to do the same similar type of moves and just pop back up and look at each other okay, we're here and you're on my level. So they did that, and then you get Tyson Kidd, who kind of starts doing heelish moves in there where, he would beat Adrian Neville at a sequence of moves. Then he starts slapping his head, saying, "I better than you," kind of thing, and the crowd started chanting, "You got served" and shit. So that was just, the way they did this match was just very good. You get Tyson Kidd, who puts Adrian Neville into a sharpshooter, then turns this sharpshooter into this very good lock, which was just very good to see. And just the way they, like I said, the way they played up to this match was very good. And the way they just put this match on, just my God, man. These two dudes are, if Tyson Kidd can get to whatever stage he needs to get to, he's going to be a very good guy, lower main event if he can. And Adrian Neville, as long as he can get his speaking up to range, then he's going to be very good. The match goes down where Adrian Neville and Tyson Kidd are going back and forth the whole time, and Adrian Neville kicks Tyson Kidd, then gets on top of the rope and does a Hurricanrana, I think it was a Hurricanrana, knocks him off the rope onto the other side of the ring, and goes on the other side, hits the red arrow, and picks up the win. And you get him sharing in the ring, and like I said, it was a very good match. Not my best match of the night. That goes to the Divas match, but this was a very good match and a very good show. This NXT show right here shows to me, why I watch wrestling and, why I feel the things I do feel about wrestling. This match, this show right here was a perfect example for anybody who ever wanted to watch wrestling. Okay, this is what I would show them as to how good wrestling is. So yeah, this was very good right here. Also on the Fallout show for NXT Takeover, you had some very good segments. Sami Zayn dancing with Adam Rose and talking about how he's just going to keep trying and going forward. You also had Adrian Neville come out and talk about the shit that's happened with him and Tyson Kidd, and Tyler Breeze comes and lays on Adrian Neville's desk, on the Fallout desk, and starts taunting Adrian Neville. Also during the show, you had 3 new entrances. Sami Zayn had a new entrance, which was kind of ska music type entrance. I thought it was an okay entrance. I don't think it's better than his last one, but I think this one goes more along lines with his persona. The Tyler Breeze had a new entrance, which I thought was a really good entrance, and it was basically him singing the song, and it was kind of like more of a kind of Zoolander type song, so I really like that. And then Charlotte had a new entrance theme, and it was a kind of techno-ish beat mixed with a little bit of the Ric Flair entrance music. So I really did like all three entrances, and I thought they were all pretty cool. But yeah, it was a pretty good show. Also, you had oh, I forgot to talk about this. So they did a video package or interview with Michael Cole and Natalia and Tyson Kidd, and it was like kind of like a wedding council video type thing where Michael Cole's talking both of them about their matches before the show, about their matches, and he just like breaking down both of them and saying that Tyson Kidd is living in the shadow of Natalia, and he's trying to get Tyson Kidd to say he's not, or to say he hates it or whatever. But the way they played that up was very good, and it led into the fallout where Tyson Kidd is just pissed off at the whole thing, and Paul Heyman is reacting to it and stuff. It was just a very good show all over. Pre-show and after show it was all very good. So next you get into Smackdown. That happened on the 30th of May. Yeah, let's see, was it the 30th of May? Yeah, the 30th of May, 2014. You get the show. It kicks off with the Shield in the ring, and they come down to the ring and basically hype up their pay-per-view match, saying how they're going to beat Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H, and they show the video package of the things that's been going down. Has some really good music for that video package, and it really did hype up the whole show as far as what is going down on this weekend's Payback pay-per-view. Then basically they were saying they were going to beat up Evolution. Not their best promo, in-ring promo, but I thought it was a pretty good segment all over. And you get all three guys come out. Roman Reigns at the end says that he's going to put all the Evolution members through announce tables for putting him through announce tables. So at Payback, any announce table he sees, he's going to put somebody through it. So I really did like that. So yeah, a pretty good promo. And Seth Rollins had most of the promo here, so I really did. I thought it was pretty good. Next, you get a match with Kofi Kingston versus Cesaro. Cesaro took most of the control in the match. Kofi Kingston has some really good offense here, and I thought it was a pretty hard-hitting match, even though it was a very short match. I thought it was pretty hard-hitting and showed, Kofi Kingston's strength, but also shows how strong and how fucking badass Cesaro is. People were down on this whole Cesaro and Sheamus feud, but I really do like it, especially doing the fact that when was the last time the U.S. title actually had a feud to go with it. So, I think it's a step forward, and I thought this was pretty chill. Kofi Kingston's still he's still in the same spot, but you got to kind of lose hope to the fact that he may never get pushed up forward, so yeah. But Cesaro ends up picking up the win with a European uppercut that after Kofi Kingston jumps off the rope. So he hits him with a European uppercut on that and picks up the win there. So, pretty good match here. Next, you get a Divas. Wait, is that next? Yep. Next, you get a Divas match with your Divas champion Paige versus, what's the chick's name? Tamina. And you get a pretty okay match here. The highlight of this match was when Alicia Fox came out and basically distracting Paige, starts taking selfies with the crowd and stuff, and she's throwing off Paige at every level here. Paige is starting to scream, "What is she doing out here?" And Alicia Fox gets her title, and Paige has to continue the match. She ends up hitting the Paige Turner, then putting Tamina into the Scorpion Deathlock, and she has a different name for it now, but I'm going to call it Scorpion Deathlock. I think that's a way better name. But you get Alicia Fox, who takes her title and walks up the stage with it and drops it. And basically you get it after Tamina taps out, you get a big-ass stare down between Alicia Fox and Paige. So, yeah, I'm very hyped for this match. I actually really am looking forward to this match, and after this, at the end of this video, I'll talk about my predictions for Payback and who I think will win. But I'm very hyped for this match, and just especially with everything that Alicia Fox been doing, that's what got me hyped. Paige hasn't really looked good in this whole series, but Alicia Fox here, man, she's been looking very good, especially how she's doing the whole crazy chick thing. So yeah, I really did like this. The match itself wasn't too great, but I liked the whole segment itself. Next, you get Bo Dallas, who comes down, hits a promo about how people could achieve to be him, be like him and get into a match with Xavier Woods. An okay match here, pretty hard hitting for parts of it, but it was basically Bo Dallas coming out with the win, hitting his Bulldog move, goes to hug Xavier Woods, kind of Xavier pushes him off, and he goes, you can be as good as me or some shit like that. My main problem here is that you can't tell if Bo Dallas is a face or a heel. And it feels like this is what I'm starting to get from the main roster guys who are writing the show. I don't think they watch NXT. I don't think they know whether or not these guys are faces or heel. Unless it's somebody like the Wyatt family, to which, they're clearly heels. For the last few people that they brought up, they do not extinguish, whether or not these guys are faces or heel. And Bo Dallas, the way they have him speak, it feels like he's speaking like a face, but with some heelish tones in there. And the match itself right here was okay, but you have no idea what they're doing with this guy, and it feels like they don't know his character, and I think he does, but he doesn't want to go against what they're writing for him. So I have no idea what's going on here, and I'm kind of just like, okay, somebody needs to fix this, or Bo Dallas needs to step up for himself and say, okay, no, this is what my character needs to say, because he does need to say some heelish type shit. He needs to be an asshole, and he's not an asshole yet, so I'm wondering how they're going to play this. Next, you get a joke match, which was El Torito versus Jinder Hall, or McCall, whatever the fuck his name is. Jinder gets beat, and it basically plays up on the whole fact of El Torito getting his tail pulled off. They show his ass with a little stump of a tail there. They play up to Hornswoggle maybe getting his hair cut. Nothing really to this match at all. It was very shitty, basically. I hope their Payback Pre-Show match can be something, because this was not anything really good at all. Next, you get a match with Paul Heyman comes to ringside, and it's your U.S. Champion Sheamus versus, your U.S. Champion Sheamus versus your IC Champion Barrett. They played up in backstage segments before this match, of which title's the better title, the IC title or the US title. They showed the lineage of both titles, showing people like, Shawn Michaels, Macho Man, and Ric Flair winning the IC title, and showing how, Wade Barrett is a 4-time champion, and showing how big of a title this is. Wade Barrett talked about it being a Intercontinental Championship, meaning that, it's a championship that's fought between the continents, which is kind of still a world championship, so I don't know. And they played up on the USA title, talking about the people that won it in WCW, like Sting and who else they said won his titles? Sting, Big Show, and now they're saying that Sheamus has it. Ask Sheamus what he thinks about it, and he basically says, it's his title, and he's basically just going to whoop Barrett's ass. So he doesn't really put up too much of the lineage of the title, but I think Barrett makes his title look bigger and looks like more of a big thing, and it kind of is, but, whatever. The match itself between these two guys was actually really good. They had a very hard-hitting match. That's what I've been seeing from several of these guys, that they're hitting a little bit harder now, and, their strikes are a little bit better to make it look like, they're actually going out there and doing something to each other. So I've been liking that a lot, and I really do think that this match here really showed that. They both have a lot of offense here. Sheamus does his beats to the chest, then Barrett does his winds of change and all his other moves and stuff. I thought it was a pretty good match, and just the way both of these guys worked here was very good. It goes to the end where Barrett goes into a Irish whip, then Sheamus hits the bro kick out of nowhere and pins them 1, 2, 3. Then goes on the outside of the ring, gets in Heyman's face. Heyman calls himself an advocate, says, I'm an advocate the whole time and stuff. And, it was an okay end segment. The whole end thing was okay, it really didn't matter, but I thought the match itself was really good. So next, we get Big E, who comes down. They show a video package of the stuff that went between him and Titus O'Neil a few weeks ago. He comes down swinging the American flag. Titus O'Neil comes is already in the ring. Lana comes out, tells people to stop doing the USA chants. introduces Rusev. Rusev is swinging his flag like a madman and says something in Russian or Bulgaria, whatever he says. And you get your match between Titus O'Neil and Big E. This picture right here is killing me. And they've been making memes off this picture. But the match itself was basically an okay match here. Both guys going for a share of offense. Quick match. And Big E ends up going over on this match and picking up the win off of the big ending. And you get both of the guys swinging their flags back and forth against each other. And yeah, that's how the match went down. Yeah, this fucking picture right here. Shit is funny as hell. But yeah, your next match was Adam Rose versus Jack Swagger. They play up the funny shit again. The crowd really wasn't into this at all. Adam Rose picks up a win using just a roll-up win into this weird-ass roll-up. But I like the match itself for his character antics here and how he was playing around, making Jack Swagger miss stuff and just, like he kept going in and out the ring, dancing around the ring and stuff. So I did like that, but they got to find a way for his character to get more over in this bigger crowd or this bigger arenas than it is. I think it gets over a little bit because of the song, but he needs to have some type of a better feud, or they need to start playing up to more of these backstage segments with him, because I think his stuff works more in the backstage arena segments and, just showing up what he can do and what his whole character is about. And after this, you get Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger, who are pissed off that they lost. So next, you get your main event, which is the Usos which is Jimmy Uso versus Bray Wyatt on Last Man Standing match. In the backstage segment, they had Jimmy Uso and the other Uso and Jay Uso talk to Renee again about what did this match mean and how they're going to go in and try their best and beat up Bray Wyatt. So this match itself was actually another pretty good match. It was more of a regular wrestling type of Last Man Standing. Not really any at all weapons or anything used in here. They did spend a lot of time on the outside of the ring, throwing each other into the barricades and stuff, and into the steps and stuff like that. You get Bray Wyatt, who tries to go for a running clothesline and ends up getting kicked to the face by Jimmy Uso, and then you also get Bray Wyatt, who attacks Jimmy Uso on the outside and knocks him down again. Jimmy Uso has Bray Wyatt down on the barricade and does the Rikishi splash into Jimmy, or the Samoan splash into whatever, Rikishi butt splash into Bray Wyatt, which I thought was a pretty good move. He tries to go for it again on the steps and Bray Wyatt end up missing Wyatt and hitting his lower back into the steps. So I did like that. And in the end of the match, he also does this, which I always love when this dude does this. But the end of the match came towards Jay Uso was getting beat up by the other members of the Wyatt family. Jimmy comes and super kicks both of them, and Bray Wyatt attacks him, hits him with the Sister Abigail, and Jimmy gets a 10 count, and Bray Wyatt picks up the win and is laying like this when the count is going on. So the match was pretty good. I'm not too sure why they did this here. I understand, but you're kind of selling the ship before. I understand what they're doing here by saying, let's give them a taste of what happened on Payback. And I thought this was a good taste of it, but I don't think it was a needed one. So, you're going to get the match that you're going to get at Payback, and this was right here was okay. As far as NXT TakeOver went, I give that most definitely an A-. As far as this show goes, I give it a C, straight C. Not too much greatness on this show. You had some pretty okay to good matches here, but it was nothing too much to build up Payback itself, this being a final go-home show before Payback, so it was nothing too crazy good to build up Payback itself. So yeah, those are my reviews for those shows, and now we're going to my Payback prediction. This video, hopefully I can end it in a few minutes, but here we go. So NXT WWE Payback, which is going to happen tonight on the 1st of June, and these are my predictions for the show. You're going to have your kickoff show with El Torito versus Hornswoggle in a Max versus Hair match. I really don't care about this match at all. The way that they set it up was basically the same, but less entertaining that they did for their other kickoff match, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. They just put something on TV just to set this match up. yeah, I already know that Hornswoggle's going to get his haircut here, and yeah, hopefully they can pull something fun out of this match like they did the last match. That's all I'm hoping for. Your match, probably kickstart of the show, is going to be Big E versus Alexander Rusev, basically the Russian versus the American type of a match. Hopefully these guys can go in there and put on a strong man's match, and you get Lana, who cuts a good promo probably. So hopefully they can do something. You're going to have a hype Chicago crowd, so hopefully they can do something good in this match and make it a very good match for the show. You're also going to get Alicia Fox versus Paige for the Divas title. Oh, for who I think going to win this match. I think Rusev is going to go over on Big E. I really don't see a reason to have Big E win unless you're going to put him against John Cena or something, or have John Cena build Big E up for some reason. But I think Rusev, because the guy that needs to be built stronger is Rusev as far as him being a heel. So I think Rusev is going to go over here. Next, like I said, you get Alicia Fox versus Paige. The build-up to this match has been very good on Alicia Fox's side. Not too much Paige side as far as them building up to her saying, okay, a lot of people don't want me here, so I'm going to try to do it best I can. It's been mostly been Alicia Fox acting crazy and doing all her after-match shenanigans, so she's been very good here. I really want Alicia Fox to win. I think Paige needs a lot more work as far as being on the main roster, and they need to figure out what they're going to do with her, and I think the title is kind of hampering whatever build they can go to her character. I think a crazy Alicia Fox holding the title here would be very good, not only to help build up Paige, but also to probably put Paige into a match with Natalya or with somebody like, somebody else that can really help build her character up. You could have Alicia Fox fight Paige again next and have that to be a help, but Paige not win again. Or you could have Alicia Fox fight somebody else like Natalya or Naomi here and have a really good series out of them. But I really think Alicia Fox should win the title here. I think it's in the title's best interest and in Paige's best interest for Paige not to continue holding this title. Next, you're going to get another title match with Cesaro versus Sheamus, two guys with one name. I expect a lot of good from this match. Both of these guys are very good in-ring workers. Both of them hit hard as hell, and I expect a match where they're going to try to beat the shit out of each other. I think we may get a DQ here, as far as I don't think they're going to let the title go off of Sheamus, and I don't think they really want Cesaro to lose. So I think Cesaro is just going to go crazy overboard and just start beating the shit out of Sheamus until the ref has to call the bell. And hopefully they do that, and both guys just start fucking each other up to a count out or something like that. And it just goes so crazy that something happens and they play off an injury or something like that. And I don't really see anybody really losing. If somebody does lose, I think it's probably going to be Cesaro, and the babyface Sheamus is going to go over here, or Sheamus is going to turn heel, something like that. But I think Sheamus is going to win this match. Next, you get your another title match, which is Rob Van Dam versus your IC champion Bad News Barrett. Bad News Barrett is going to win here. I'm hoping RVD can hold up this match, and he hasn't been looking as crisp as he should be in these last few matches, but hopefully he can hold himself up here and put out a good match. Like I said, Bad News Barrett is going to win here. Next, you get your last man standing match with John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Hope to God they can, push the other family members away, and hopefully Bray Wyatt sends them to the back, and these two just have a big ass, knockdown match. Hopefully they can get a good match out of John Cena here, and this will be the thing that ends the feud between both of the guys. And I think Bray Wyatt really does need to go over here for him to keep looking strong, and I think he should be, really, really be Daniel Bryan's next match and the next guy he should face. I think Bray Wyatt, they need a real strong heel coming out of here, and I think Bray Wyatt is the guy, so I think he needs to beat John Cena here. Next, you're going to probably get the whole whether or not Daniel Bryan is going to give up the titles or Brie Bella is going to get fired. I think Brie Bella is going to get fired. I don't think Daniel Bryan is going to give up the titles. I think Brie Bella is going to let herself be fired and come out and probably slap Stephanie or something like that to allow herself to be fired or something. So I don't expect Daniel Bryan to give up the titles, or I hope he doesn't. So yeah. And last but not least, you get your 3-on-3 elimination, no holds bar match, the Shield versus Evolution. I expect a very good match out of this. Their match at Extreme Rules was very good. I expect the same from here. I think Evolution is going to win here. I think they need this win. I think it's going to be Triple H kind of kind of fucking up, not fucking up, but how do you say it? Cheating to win, for lack of a better word, and probably bringing out other people to beat down Roman Reigns, who's probably going to be the last person in the match. So I'm thinking Evolution is going to win here. I think they need the win, and I think this is going to lead to probably the Shield, disbanding, or it's going to lead to a match with Roman Reigns versus Triple H at the next pay-per-view. I don't know. After thinking about it just for a second, it just hit me because Batista is leaving. So I don't know who that's the thing is, I don't know who the Shield was face if Evolution doesn't win. So I think I'm gonna stick with my guns and say Evolution picks up the win here, and they're just gonna find something else to do with the Shield from here. Probably moving on towards the Money in Bank, and these guys are gonna go into the Money in Bank match. So yeah. This is going to be interesting to see what they do. But as far as Payback goes, it's tonight. The build-up to the show hasn't been that great, but it's kind of not been fully the WWE's fault. They had a lot of problems business-wise, and a lot of problems not having a champion to be there. All the stuff that's been going on with Daniel Bryan. So it's going to be an interesting night, to say the least. So I'll see you later on tonight for my review. Thank you for watching. This is probably my longest video I've ever done, but thank you for watching. Peace.